asked chat what map they want to learn today, we got Chalet. Now, the biggest thing about Chalet is I don't really know who's best. G2's dog-walked Furia on Chalet, but FaZe beat Furia on Chalet too. Oh yeah, G2 8-6 Secret on Chalet when they were... Secret was deemed the best Chalet team in the world, but Secret kind of like took their aura back, so I actually don't know. It's between Secret and FaZe, in my opinion. Yeah, I'm going to do another video a different day about FaZe, because Chalet used to be their permaban, and they turned it into their literal best map. So, like, we'll figure that one out later. But here we go. Team Secret on Chalet starting off defense. They started with a double shield ban. Now, Mowgli is going to be a huge part of any strat they're doing. But let's go ahead and just study the setup they're doing right now, right? This is every strat. We're going to start with Bar. Bar is their very first site. I don't know how much they choose it, but it reinforced the dining wall. Make holes across the dining wall. And this is so that if you have a player inside of dining later on the round, he can make angles into lobby to deny that lobby walk. They have the bar hatch reinforced, which means they're not going to play that hard top 4. They want library hatch open because it stops the corner plant, but that's about it. Noah's going to start in the corner with Wamai, I believe. No, he's going to play top mez with Wamai. Are they going to start a corner player at all? Maybe they will. I don't know. But yeah, so this is my series where I'm looking at who should be the best team on the best, the best team on the map in the world at the time, and we're going to learn all their strats in the current meta. We're just going to see how it goes. So it looks like Weibo are going for some sort of like ISO direct attack. They're immediately gridlocking off all of library itself so that the Wamai can't run through library and retake that hatch. That's the general idea. Savage already going for aggressive play. The impact grenade here, what it does is the stock wall to threaten Adrian on site is you can open it from basement if you're doing a direct attack. So that's the idea. If you impact above here, you make vert onto that stock wall to stop Adrian from dying. And Savage, I believe he got his kill in the basement too. So yeah, it looks like the Harbridge was going in underneath to go for that kill. And it looks like an all-around spreader room. So this is an office extension room, actually. This is not a spreader room. This is an office extension room. That's why the hatch is reinforced up top. There's generally speaking 2 archetypes of strat for this site. One is like the bunker, which is more common, the one that G2 runs. Wow, what a brilliant dodge on that fucking blitz flash. And now Weibo had to flip around into a solar over because the direct push didn't work because the Hibana immediately died, not able to get that wall, right? So now look at Secret's position. They stacked up in box, in top blue, and top mez, and that's a 3 triangle positions to hold down library side. Like, this is the holy trinity, right? This guy can either be in library corner or in box. It's either one or the other. I just drew a penis on the screen. But it's the holy trinity is top mez, top blue, and then either box or inside of the library, and then you can fight anything in a library side. It's a very loose roam. It's like everyone's positioned around the map to do anything. That's a good one way by Savage right there with the Azami, and like the crossfire is just way too strong. A bunch of traps from Secret, the Fenrir and the Legion to stop like the fast takes with the shields. So that's why they banned the Montaigne and the Blackbeard, so that all those fast pushes would get shut down no matter what. Alright, let's figure out what setup they do. Alright, so the default stock reinforcements they have, right, for the site player. You have the stock wall to make sure you know you can't get wallbang playing inside of stock, and then you have this other stock wall holes across here to deny the window hop in straight into site. Now obviously the next threat to site is going to be the vertical control, right? What happens if the enemy takes above all soft floor site? Gotta hold top floor. So the most important top floor position is going to be top mezzanine, right? This spot right here. It lets you literally hold everything. It lets you hold the lobby walk, it lets you hold the pusher solar side, it lets you hold all of library. It's literally the fucking position of hell, right? And obviously you want to have library hatch open so that you have dominion over the enemies trying to hit site if they don't want to go for a site rush. One interesting here is you actually see them reinforce the bar hatch. Usually you have this open if you have a super duper anchor strat with everyone else playing on top, but this time they have it actually all closed. They have this wall reinforced as well, and then this wall right here is super important because if you didn't have this wall reinforced, there would be a cross onto walking past this doorway directly from the window. So that's why you have this wall reinforced. Well, 3 players close to site are already determined. You have one top blue stairs. He can proxy down to help his boy on site. The site player obviously playing in stock like I showed earlier. And the top mez player here basically holding down this position top mez. That's like the 3 closer to site. But the reason they have this hatch reinforced is because they're actually doing a really heavy roam on the master dining side of the map. So as you saw the Azami do in the beginning of the round, she reinforces this dining wall and then makes holes across lobby so that she can actually play inside of dining and deny anyone trying to walk through lobby at the players in sight. And then another thing is they've reinforced this west main wall, because if they didn't reinforce the west main wall, well, guess what? There'd be an angle at bottom solar stairs into this dining player, cutting it off, right? So you got to reinforce this west main wall because it helps you hold this better. And then obviously, if the enemy gets above that player in dining, well, we can't have that happen. We also got to hold top floor side. So they actually have a super extended roam on the top floor, actually, with this solar wall reinforced, because once again, if this wall wasn't reinforced, you could get wall bangs from the solar windows, right? This allows you to play over here, make the rotate and closet. Now, I'm not sure exactly what rotates they made, but I'm assuming they also had a rotate on the office side, right? So this way they could do kind of like a little light roam, and then they have their roams. So the two operatives they have on this side of the map are going to be the Fenrir and the Legion. That way, basically, you can't lurk up on these players and can't catch them by surprise, right? If you have the Fenrir over here, and what they're going to do is they're going to start one player over here, solar side, in case the solar over, shoot drones, fall back just like you see through this rotate, shoot drones, don't get cut off by anything, fall back, and you see this literally happening in the round live action, right? You see this Fenrir Joom eventually making it back to Ivy side after Weibo Gaming are clearing off the roam, and they're doubling up on this position here, and he's basically playing to waste time and fall back to this box position to set up the Holy Trinity crossfire that no one can basically clear onto his teammates. It's going to be the same thing for the Legion and dining side. The player above is obviously there to help out if need be, and the Legion can also make vert for the player above onto the K9 door. So it's like a two-man super light roam, shoot drone on the side of the map, throw Legion mines to make sure that no one can come up on the staircase on the trophy window hopping, and then eventually peel off this layer. If they don't clear him out, he will have control of lobby forever. If the enemy takes down over top floor, right, like they can't execute bar lobby side, because if they drop over, they'll go into Legion's loving arms. So that's why you have this position to start. If they don't clear you, you're a problem for the rest of the round. If they do clear you, well, you just fall back and you give up your position to go back into the site. One interesting thing the site player does is he keeps barricading off mud door. It's actually, fun fact, it's completely safe from the window, and it's a really good way to make sure if your site player is like alone, they're not getting lurked on. And the most crux pivotal op on this site is going to be the Azami on blue stairs, right? Azami on blue stairs is such a powerful position because once again, you can kind of make this one-way angle where you see their feet first as they're pushing through. It's really powerful, and on top of that, you can also make blue a stronger fortress as well, because that way you're also dominioning your domain over short. So if they're pushing down this hallway, they go onto your teammates late round. That can help out there. One of the main ways the attackers do counter this is by going for the direct take, which is what Weibo actually did in the beginning. They'll get a Haban or hard breach straight into the basement. They'll open up the stock wall from the basement, and that will open up the angle onto the site player, which the moment that site player is dead, and because it's a heavier roam, no one's on the hatch at the start of the round like we saw, the enemies can just hop through this window and plant because stock was the one person holding the hop in. That's why you saw the player immediately make this vert above, right? So if you're the top mez player with impacts, make sure you're aware of this. You counter out this strat by doing this, and the moment they broke that, the moment they killed the Hibana in the basement, or I believe she was in actually mud at this point, the entire strat went to shit. Weibo can no longer go for that, and they had to flip it all over to a solar side, and at that point, Team Secret have already fallen off their light roam, and they set up this deadly crossfire. And this is the main thing you want to practice in ranked tier, guys. It's going to be this 3-man crossfire onto the top floor. It lets you maintain control over the library hatch, over site, bar site, vert itself. And then with that control, you can essentially just win anything. So it's like a light extension. Let's go to the next side. Okay, so this is going to be kitchen dining. Really good mute jammer. You see Adrian placing right there on top of the plants to cover the drone hole. Triple reinforcement on dining wall. So actually nothing too fancy with extending library side and having that open. Once again, the same reinforcement west main to stop that angle down from solar, and it lets you play in west main or inside of solar or trophy, vice versa. And you want to extend top floor because once again, because there's so much vert over site, right? Both the bomb sites have completely soft floors over them, so that's the reason you want to extend top floor. Big window castled off to make sure this guy just can't cut off the entire site. That's why Chalet is so attacker sided, because of the cuts. Rotates top floor, all pretty default stuff, and reinforcement on the right side of that box wall to make so that you can hold half wall, which is the most important position on this so far. Barbed wire outside of half wall or a K9 area right here, because once again this half wall position is so incredibly important. Doom's going to play extremely aggressively, probably for the majority of the time. Doesn't seem like there's any library or top mez presence at all this time, which means that they're going to go for this wall immediately off the rip with almost no difficulty at all. Yeah, so Weibo have library control entirely because it's like a full kind of bunker site, right? Now it does still have a castle barricade.
Jim is actually falling back. No one to cut him off from the master.
Jim falls off, peels off the Howell position, gives it up.
Yeah, he does.
A lot of people don't anymore because it's so important, but Mowgli eventually dies with the cuts, and this Push does give up a lot of map control. Is exposed now to that piano window. Same thing here, that solar wall you see reinforced to make sure there's no wall bangable angle into closets. And Weibo are just completely tearing them apart with the map control they have. They have so much dominion over the entire map. But yeah, this strat's a little bit more of a default, but we'll still go over it anyways because it looks like Secret on this defense are kind of default, right? Okay, so first things first, obviously the site wall directly in the site, you want to reinforce it. If you're not going to extend over by library side, just keeps you protected. Even though they lost on this bomb site, I'm still going to teach it anyways because it's still good to know the defaults, right? It's still good to know how to set up the sites. Long angle from here can be made onto the player playing behind the dining just if you have bar control. So once again, you want to reinforce this wall, and then you want to make feet holes to the right of this wall just so you can see when enemies are coming. Now, I'm not going to get every single user position down, but in case the enemy wants to creep up on you, you'll catch them with their feet, and usually there is some sort of notification here, which you really want. They didn't show the rotates inside, but the most common and safe ones are this one and this one that lets you dodge in and out of kitchen. Now, I actually don't think they actually made these, so take it at your own risk. Once again, this wall reinforced in West Main and these holes made just so if you have this control, you can, from West Main, have the ability, well, one, you can play in West Main and over here without dying to solar stairs, but two, if you have trophy control, you can make it long angle onto the dining wall if they get it open. Holes right here on trophy so that as a site player, they can't just hit the site directly through the trophy window on you. And then obviously all the floor is soft now, so you have one player in sight and literally everyone else up top. Same thing here. This wall, if it was not reinforced, enemies could just repel solar and get a long angle on the master. So reinforce this wall, rotate on closet for more mobility, rotate on master because this one it keeps you covered from the K9 door, pop open the hatch because you want to have that vert over sight, and then you want to play in the top floor, right? Let's go ahead and not have these two walls open. Let's reinforce them. This is default. Now, the explanation for which walls you want to reinforce on the box wall depends on what like wall denial you have or what wall denial you don't have. If you don't have wall denial, you don't want to keep this closed. You want to have some sort of threat from them walking straight up to this wall and contesting your piano player, right? There's a crossfire that needs to be made here, so it's not just completely free to walk up. Obviously, don't double reinforce this. The most popular option nowadays is reinforcing this wall because people are realizing how important of a power position half wall is. So half wall is going to be this position right here. The reason for that being is the vert goes directly over site, and you could stop people from going through the breach. Now, if this wall wasn't reinforced, you could see there's an angle onto the half wall position. And it's now people have realized that's why zombie put barbed here, or people put like Fenris here. People really contest aggressively out here now with defense because they realize how easy it is to actually deny this position and play it like a power spot. Most important around here, I would say, is castle, just because once again, like these two highway windows basically allow the attack to get a lot of leverage over where the defense moves. And so same thing with big window, right? If anyone gets another repel, they cut off the entire top floor into halves. So you want to be able to castle this off, and that's your setup. 4 people top, everyone basically bunkered up on this side. You got one player piano, most likely, one player playing the piano for the crossbar, sorry, one player on the half wall. You can have one player over here in the closet. He can make a long angle on the K9, and he's like rotating over here, getting angles on the master side, and then you have another player flexing around solar. He prevents the guy from hopping in bathroom. He can walk up and support his boy K9 over here, and then he can also jump down the solar staircase and go help his boy out onto site. Now, obviously, this hatch control and the half wall vert control basically cover almost most of the site, if not all of it, but here's some more vert spot positions you should know. So the hatch control does not, like, if the guy gets behind the bomb, that's a tough plant to stop. So actually having inside closet control, you can make vert through the wall to get behind the bomb, that angle right there. And then the other kind of hard floor is above the kind of drone hole grass area. So actually wall banging this, it's kind of bad if you're defending and the attackers take the vert from you, but you know, having this wall bangable spot memorized is very good. If you don't, if someone's on big window and you can deny it from there, then there's also angles here to deny all of that plant. I would say the reason they lost this is because they did a full like bunker top floor setup, but they had no kind of like they had no kind of like util. Usually when teams fully bunker top floor, they'll bring the tube and the cade, and they'll actually double reinforce these walls off. They actually reinforce every single wall off, and then they'll cade the top and the bottom wall, and then they can literally tube this wall to oblivion and just keep it closed for the entire round, and then they can do nothing. So that's the biggest thing. They didn't really have a lot of util to stop it. Weibo Gaming took all of library side in 2 seconds, and then they were able to sit still and clear this guy out of half wall position, and yeah, there just wasn't enough util on this hold, essentially. Okay, next bomb site, master bedroom. It's really coming back into play. People thought it was one of the worst sites for a while. They're actually going to do, oh, I like that we're going to go through this strat now. They're actually going to do a really interesting setup that you don't really see a lot. Usually people immediately assume double reinforced office wall facing top mez every single time. They're not going to actually do that because of the way they set up this and this shield. Keep that in mind. They're going to do a library kill box strat. Castle on the IV window, reinforcement on the solar wall once again. They have a player top mez, and I believe he's going to be the lone. There might be one more player blue, but he's going to flex back to that IV shield. It's going to be a zombie playing top mez. Little bit of a library extension. They're going to have a player inside of stock to make sure no one can get underneath. Mowgli playing C4 underneath instead of dining, and then their two players are going to be the castle and the warden inside, just making sure they don't get rushed. Last round, you notice that they didn't use all the reinforcements. Same with this round, 7 reinforcements. It looks like Secret are much more hell-bent on just playing default positions with like kind of lineups, or powerful positions with lineups, and like really like getting everything down in the moment. Let's see, do they have any closet reinforcements? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Angers with the hollow sight. Mowgli does find the opening kill as Tersa jumps on inside. Bit of damage done to attempt to refrag his teammate, but not able to find that kill as of yet. And
wow. I'm trying to count reinforcements here, guys, but Joom on that immediate lower roam is Joom and Mowgli. Oh, sorry. Who is it? Savage and Mowgli? They helped each other a lot. Finally gets cleared out, but I mean, that lower roam, they try to get a freebie on that guy, and usually it would be a freebie, but the top player came in to help him super well. But having that underneath control basically lets you play that C4 for the entire round, right? Hibana's on all these windows once again, making sure maximum maximum rotatability, and now they finally have this reinforcement on that bathroom wall, which is super important to not get wallbang from bathroom window. This will be an exciting shot to go over because I don't think it's one you too commonly see in ranked. Now this player is attempted to being cleared out of Owl's spot, but he's going to play it super well. Shoots the Hibana's off, and his player comes around to help him with the power. Really good team play. It looks like, so Secret strats, you'll notice that they're not very util heavy. They're not very like well oriented to like play a win con, but they just rely entirely on their fucking team play, and they actually fucking just beautifully win it out purely based off of that. Alright, so we get to master, and the first thing you'll notice is they'll do a reinforcement on this wall, and they'll actually make holes on the right side of it, and they'll do 2 reinforcements on the Ivy wall before, which is completely opposite to what you see in rank, right? You especially expect to see 2 reinforcements on the left office wall, and then this is where you expect the holes. Now, why is this? Now, the reason for this is because they want to hold library control without putting too many bodies by having this shield here on Ivy. So this Ivy shield allows you to play closer to site while also holding library, because look, if you make holes across this wall, and now look at the enemy trying to cross library, right? They're crossing into your crossfire. Not only are they crossing into your crossfire, they're also crossing into your boy's crossfire from over here. I wish I made a hole there, but imagine you can see through that on the master wall. And then you pair this with a player taking top mez, which is basically also kind of like a mini adaptation of what happened wrong on the kitchen rounds. They didn't extend over here. Now, this guy's playing here permanently, and if they try to get close on the guy playing here permanently, then the people are going to get shot through the feet holes on this angle and on this angle. So you got to imagine, if you're an attacker entering into this, I mean, you just got to imagine how AIDS this looks like. What are you even fighting, right? And then there's a guy still here. Now, on top of that, they also have a player inside of bar stock just to make sure no one can get underneath the library player and start bucking him out from like inside a bar or walking up a staircase on him, because that's the biggest weakness, right? Is walking up the main staircase or walking up the blue staircase. So this guy can also hold the hop-in from library double, can also hold the lot hop-in from library single if he wants to, and he's leashing. And the reason they set it up this way instead of having just more players on this side of the map, because the biggest thing about Chalet is cuts, right? If you actually wanted the players, instead of, you wanted this wall closed, you want this, you know, normal over here, you actually commit a player top blue and shit, and then, you know, Chalet is just cuts. They get this window open, they get this window open, and now your 2 roamers are cut off, your sights, you know, reinforced off, and the enemy just hit sight immediately, which is why actually, you know, this was the cut angle to essentially remove the zombie's ability to get back into sight. That's why they castled this angle, and also why this castle barricade was placed down here in curve. This was another castle barricade played, because guess what? That front door cut also stops the bar player from running back to dining. And if you remember, in dining is where Mute was playing with all his Mute jammers in a C4, because if you're underneath with a C4 on Master, where every single piece of the floor is soft, the enemy can't go for any plants, unless they're planning on top of the Master bed, of course. Then you can C4 through this hole. But there's all vert underneath, so you can basically just stop any plant, and then the two players on site are going to play the default position again, where you have, this time, these two walls reinforced. If you want to play on this side, like inside of Master, you need these walls reinforced, because if this wall wasn't reinforced, guess what? You get wallbang from bathroom window, right? Especially with that castle barricade on the Ivy window, stops them from denying it, people outside there. You can play here, have this rotate, and the biggest thing about this castle setup this time around is they actually reinforced they actually castled the big window, but they also castled this piano short doorway right here. That way, if they get open big window, this door is still castled off. So you could still cross back and forth. The whole idea is, let's connect the two sides of the map. How can we stay both sides of the map, both library and solar side, as connected as possible? We have the castle barricades on this side and the castle barricades on the bottom floor, which is exactly what you see happen right here. Despite the fact that they are demo striking the Mute and they want to go for him and they want to hunt this guy underneath, which usually he's fucked. Like a lot of the time he's fucked, because you could open up that main door and have that cut on the curve, and then you open up trophy window and you can hold anyone from coming down solar to help him, and this guy's just completely isolated. This guy's usually fucked, but he gets a really good opening pick, and now you see people from Secret are actually able to help him super easily because of the way the strat's set up, right? Like, Savage goes to kill this guy just by coming down main stairs. He probably zombied off that solar or the trophy window. Reaps gets another kill on the opposite side of the map, or Joom, and he was a guy that started bar side, and he's able to rotate around to help us boy in here. Noah or whoever, or sorry, Savage, was it Savage? Savage or whoever was able to come down solar to all help the boy. Same thing if it would, if they were to have, if this was to happen, like on the top floor, they were able to get the shield, the angles on the library. Joom, go help over here. It's just everyone can help each other at all times. That's the idea of this strat. So it's a super spread out, super thin roam. Not a lot of good util, but a lot of like coordination based roam. That's really cool for people to learn from. And then one tiny thing to note here is the zombie barricades are so powerful on bathroom because it lets you walk back and forth in the solar. All right, back to bar we go. They have a Rooney this time instead of Wamai, but it really just looks like the exact same setup. I don't think anything has changed. Mowgli might switch up his roam, and here's the thing with a lot of looser teams that have like a lot more adaptation potential is like you maybe see like the free player like Mowgli changes positions, and that's their adaptation between rounds. They're not playing the exact same strat. Ooh, but this time, okay, they're gonna switch it up. Okay, so that's a big switch up. The big change this time is going to be they're going to double reinforce these office walls. So last time you saw them actually extend all the way solar side. This time they're going to double reinforce the office walls and actually hold a closer layer with blue ivy. You're actually going to see this happen in live action right now. The Mute jammers. Yep, double reinforce on this master wall. And now, yeah, they give Dominion over K9. K9's a super powerful cut spot. They have Dominion over it because they extended office side. So Mowgli, okay, Mowgli is starting out inside of dining again, but look, this is a much more tight-knit roam, and you'll see why in a bit. So here's the thing about adaptation, right? Last time we saw that there was a super light roam with just one reinforcement and just one guy over here, and he immediately played the fall off. Weibo Gaming realized, hey, they have a response for our direct take, and they had a super light roam over here last time. Let's just take solar side over. Let's just do that instead. But they don't notice that Secret have already adapted their defense to counter it with this double reinforced office wall. It's much more tight-knit. And look, Noah immediately contests on the Ivy window to deny that player from getting on the highway windows. And they're fighting here to die, right? They're like, this is a hard held roam. And even if Savage was forced to fall back, which he kind of is doing right now, but they have a super deadly crossfire set up already, and you see Noah playing close to K9. That's because of the office control they have, and they can deny someone from being hit on the entire round. And they have the double reinforced wall on box. So it's just so many layers and layers and so many cross ability. Mowgli gets caught out on a rat play, though. And now they fully fall back again, but they would have had a crazy crossfire on office side. It's the same thing. We see this, and you'll notice this a lot, is that they have this double reinforced wall and closet, they have this hatch here so Jim can fall down, and they have this triple crossfire onto the solar overtake. It's really just beautiful stuff. But one thing is, like, this double office wall, like, usually the attackers are smart enough to know to breach it, and that guy's dead, but this lets a guy play half wall. And then they could play a guy up here in blue with a double crossfire onto that, and then this guy is ratting close onto K9, so if there ever comes a player here, they could just double swing this player onto K9, kill him, and go back to holding that angle. So that's why that setup is there. Yeah, so they traded 1-for-1, but you can already see it basically tore apart, like, Weibo's roam player. Now it's just up to them to, like, execute this, like, mid-round push flawlessly on across the top floor. Weibo setting up for the flood now. Grimduff all of blue, doesn't catch a single person. Now Noah's fill back from top mez into the library corner. Good play, because once they flood through that double, they get an angle directly on the top mez, right? So now he falls back to library corner instead, and there's actually no player playing aggro on blue, so good positional play. There comes Noah with library corner. That's why it's so incredibly important. He's dead though, but his players fell off, and look, another layer. 3v3. Let's just trade for 1-for-1, and Weibo wastes their time, and now there's time. 20 seconds left. Beautifully played defense with the layers, every single one. Every single layer was so perfectly played by Secret. Even though they traded out bodies, it's exactly what they wanted to do. Now you can see why Secret won this tournament perfectly without dropping a map. 2 reinforcements left on the board though. Look at the time. Exactly. Beautifully played by Secret. Super well played. Alright, let's break it down. So same thing for the site player once again, right? You hold down stock to make sure you can't, the guy can't hop in sight. This is the most powerful and safest site position. This time, they wanted to extend office, but they did it a little differently. So they still made this rotate, but instead of going all the way to master and not having this wall reinforced, they actually reinforced this wall. And they put a mute jammer on it. And that way, this guy can play in here for a lot longer. And there's kind of this crossfire. If they can't get this wall open, then they have to go through piano. And then you just double up with another player inside of piano, right? So you play this piano double. You get this double crossfire on here. And the only really threat, besides, obviously, as an attacker, your big thing is you open this wall, is this K9 door. But then what does Secret do in the middle of the round? They play Noah early on this closed K9 window, so that the player in master and closed K9 door can basically just have like a double swing onto this guy and get that free pick and then relieve that counter pressure immediately. The next thing is their top floor setup, so they're actually going to double reinforce the box wall this time. So same thing here for the top mez position, but they have a double reinforced box wall, and then they have this reinforced box wall once again to stop you from crossing over top blue and basically let you cross over here freely as possible. And so their strat essentially consisted of having everyone in the same positions, but switching up their layers just a little bit. They knew that Weibo was going to go for a solar over because of what they saw last time, so they only had one player over here inside of library, and they had one player in sight. Everyone else, Rooney was ready to fucking pounce on them top K9. The Fenrir was over here playing, the layer over here. Mowgli also was playing a layer in top Owl, and then you had, or not Mowgli, the Mew, and then you also had a player inside of Dining once again. So they played this super hard layer where they all fell back perfectly. Everything went to plan, right? They traded 1-for-1. They fell back. They played inside this office position with the player close to K9 and the player on blue, and then they get their pick. Boom, boom, fight, fall back. Same thing here, triple crossfire, except they have a player on blue stairs playing super back now, maybe playing for the C4 on the deep flood. They have this guy in box who no longer has a double reinforcement, and he's playing to pop his own hatch and drop down the moment the push comes through. And then this player, instead of playing top mez and getting his booty hole fucked by the players coming through piano double, he's going to play in library corner with a long angles over and then try to drop the hatch, which obviously he doesn't, but the rat works because of the double reinforced wall. So it's like a little bit of a switch up. It's meant to layer, but you could see that there's a lot of other teams that like to play this office extension. Like, imagine if you had this wall all open with the IV shield and the other strat. You can also combine it with the IV shield to kind of get an angle on the library as well if you manage to hold down the office side position. But their Secret was clearly playing the layer and trade bodies, and that's exactly what they did. Back to kitchen. Now you see last time they're learning from their mistakes. So remember how I said last time that the problem with Secret was that they they double reinforced this wall, they single reinforce this wall, default rank shit, but they play 0 people library side. Weibo took library in literally like 0.2 seconds, and therefore Secret got fucked because they used that control for the entire round. You see them switching the setup around, and this is what I meant. It's modular setups, guys. Like, you can take different parts of different setups, apply it to almost like every single strat on this map because of how interconnected the library and the solar and the master side is. right? So they're going to double reinforce this wall, put the shield down on Ivy again, make feet holes all across. You see feet holes all across this library. You have the shield here, feet holes across the library. Let's use deny library. Holes right here, deny library. That's the idea. Yeah, look how much fucking holes, like, I don't know. Funny that Igor's in my chat. I'm pretty sure it was you guys that innovated this, like, type of strat. Like the killbox library. For us, this attack, you are saying that our call is Dark Zero? Oh, Solar Take is Dark Zero attack? Or the direct take? But Igor, did y'all invent the library kill box with the feet holes across and the Ivy shield? Like the blue hall shield? No. Okay. I stole it from you guys. I first saw it from you guys, but I don't know who made it or not. Direct opening garage? Yeah. Oh, that's the Dark Zero attack? Okay. What he's talking about, chat, is when you go in... Yeah, when you go in from garage, you come up the stairs, you open up this lower wall, deny the stock player, get the guy at a library corner, this library guard corner, dead, get him out of there, and then you can hop in, because stock player's dead, you can hop in the window. Yes. Oh, so you did invent the library kill box. I'm a little delayed for you, okay. Hold on. You did invent the library kill box. Yeah, that's a key signature, chat. A key signature of any strat that Igor or Volps has innovated is that they need 3 shotguns, or they're fucked. any strat that like back in 2022 W7M, 3 shotguns every site, setting up 30 seconds in every round, bro. That was actually the fucking hallmark of your team, bro. The strats are so fucking insane, bro. There's like literally like 15 lines of sight on every map, bro. It looks like Secret went for like a little mini play. So on top of the strat they have, you can play like different pacings and different like types of aggression. They went for early aggression, which obviously got punished, right? But this is a counter. This is why Joom's playing for that library control, because if you're doing the solar take, the biggest thing you could do is cut off that position, that bathroom position, right? Because what happens here, if you cut off bathroom, you stop the guy from getting into top owl, and that top owl guy can no longer stop the people from repelling in solar and swing on them. So then what Joom does is he plays close to the library with the open double window. He hops out and he kills this guy on the far bathroom repel to kind of deny that. But there's no reinforcements on this side. They don't actually want to play over here. They want to fall back and play that shield just like I was talking about. And now they have the solar stairs player. So by doing that extension that W7M invented 3 years ago, they're able to draw back play players closer to site and bunch all the bodies together, because like I said, the problem with old library extensions is that you would expend too many bodies library side, they would get cut off and enemies could just hit site. And now they have vert underneath the site, or the solar repel itself. They have the rotate. Top 4 setup looks completely default once again. They have 3 reinforcements left again.
His match pretty shortly as Savage spots him. He wants to continue contesting. He goes on the vert angle. Turd takes a little bit of damage.
Well, defender playing top, when is it code pushing solar or going to library first? This depends. It depends on what you know better to clear. Like, I want to be real, both solar and library over clear are very, very good and viable. It just depends, like, the setup you're going into. These guys don't have trophy window open. They are ass. I agree, they are ass. Super. I agree. The biggest thing is, chat, is like, it doesn't matter if you're a solar over or library over team. Honest to God, there's only a couple strats that are very like NA. Okay, I don't know how to explain this. There's a couple NA only strats that were like the library direct or solar is like the definitive right answer. Other than that, if you're playing against like a default extension every single round, it's just what your team is better at. So if you see a top mez player and your team is like really good at nade stacking top mez, just do that shit every time. You know, like that's your bread and butter. Or like if there's a solar stairs player and you guys, today for me, solar tech depends on the bans we have on the match. That's true also. If a zombie's up, it's much harder to hold down. If a zombie's up, it's much harder to cut off the bathroom rotate. Yeah, that's also true. But say like for me, it's like if there's a solar stairs player and you flood like you're really good at flooding nades from trophy window, like you hit that nade perfectly, which a lot of teams can't. A lot of teams don't have a perfect like quad nade onto solar stairs. But if you hit that perfect nade and it's a free pick for you every time, get the fucking free pick. Well, I do think the biggest thing is having a lurk, like having a really talented lurk player, and that's what Secret have, and you're about to see it on their attack half, having that really talented lurk. Because if you go for like a nade flood on like top mez and it fails, and then now you have to hop in or rotate over, and Chalet's such a small map, it's like hard to rotate over that fast. Without a lurk already on the other side of the map making that space for you, it's tough, right? So like I think the biggest, most important thing is having a really talented lurk. But anyways, yeah. So again, really default setup again. Okay, so 7 reinforcements up the site. This is already telling me, and the other coaches have discussed it in chat, that this was like a heavy counter strat map for Secret. Like, it looks like they actually knew everything the other team was doing, and they just didn't give a fuck to set up their own site even. So obviously, site setup, they didn't even have rotates. Here's the thing, they didn't even have rotates. West main wall was completely fucking soft, okay? I think they knew that Secret, like, Weibo wanted to do a library over. So they have these 2 reinforcements essential. And another thing is, I think it also speaks on the meta. I think the meta is so based around Cheese and Blitz and Ying and Glaz that it's like, okay, the fast shit's gonna happen. We can't really afford to set up anything other than like the default thing we want to set up, right? So these holes were here. Same setup as last time. These 2 walls let you play over here outside the closet door. You can move through here, rotate on the master wall. And they switch it up because last time they had a full bunker by double reinforcing this office wall. This time they do the opposite, right? This time they open up this master wall facing forward and they double reinforce 2 walls to the right again. Double reinforced wall here basically makes it so that you can put this shield down once again. And you saw that Legion at the beginning of the round making all the holes across the library side. So kind of the same idea here, right? Hold down library without really holding down library. And they basically just fixed their problem from the last round where Weibo took full library over. Now you can't take library over for free if you want to go solar. No, you can't do that because we have a player playing super aggressive on the library side, hopping out, immediately killing the player who would have had the library cut or the solar cut. And then they had a player starting on solar stairs, anticipating just in case if they want to do that solar take, right? So then he had the C4 out. He was playing right here. His teammate was coming around to help him. The complete, like, it just looks like they were full counter shotting, either that or just anticipating the cheese almost every single round. They literally only got 1 dining wall. There was a wall on stock for, I believe, a roamer starting on this side, but I don't believe he actually played in here. I think he just went for the microplay. So it just goes to show, like, maybe this is why Secret was so dominant this event, because they were so dynamic. It looks like they were really deep in the counter strats. Maybe that's why they lost Chalet 6-8 to G2 early on in the EU Pro League, and then they dominated them 7-3 in the playoffs. So yeah, again, now they're going back to Master. Yeah, same thing here. They have the bottom setup for Mowgli to have the C4s. Don't know if this is the exact same setup. Oh, they are double. Okay, so they are double reinforcing. They're putting the shield on Ivy once again. They're, yeah, barricading. So it's almost, yeah, basically the exact same setup. Same kill box library side. Same player down and stock to make sure the guy can't hop in library for free. You also have that cut back to help out the player inside below. So there's a spread basically. They have a threat on every side. And ooh, big shield there outside. K9 once again, super popular position recently. Looks like Secret want to go, or Weibo want to go for some sort of like fast crunch onto this player. So this is the most vulnerable player. The one thing like helping him is going to be that castle barricade in like curve to help him get back to dining. But it looks like Weibo does have the correct read on this player. They're droning him out. They know that he's the most isolated one. Mowgli actually has much more help than it seems, much more connectivity across the map. Well, they actually have bottom stock wall reinforced. So here, yeah, and then here comes Savage. So look, they're all actually coming to help him. And you see, like when I was talking about the strat earlier, I was talking about the connectivity of the strat, right? Is that they're all look how fast just off of like Joom getting droned out twice, that Savage came flying over to help his boy. Same with Mowgli, right? Like that's in like 20 seconds. Savage is already down blue. Mowgli already comes through curve. They already go to trade out with each other. But it was a good gap found by Weibo, and they actually went up winning at the trades on top library and below. Yeah, same thing with this castle. So I don't need to really show you guys the strat again. It's the exact same one, but the whole idea is the connectivity. They connect with each other. They link up. They help each other super easily. The hole's the lobby, but it's Weibo anticipating this time around. There was no difference in it. Weibo just picked the weakest guy to go for, and it pulls apart like the positions, you know, because that is, you know, Bar is the weakest roamer here.
as he waits for these Weibo players
And
to expose
Secret made a great
themselves
play.
in
They
the
actually came to
side.
help him, which was really, really good, but it just didn't go their way. But 4-2, strategical dominance from Secret. They were in control essentially the entire time. Right. A Strat is super weak to a Solar. I agree. But like, I think they were just. I think like you said, they were counter stratting or something. Because like it's like their ops look damn near the same almost every single round. Let's say they were just bringing like Fenrir and like Legion every single round. Fenrir, Legion, Castle, Mute, like just almost every single round. Looks like they were literally just adjusting around their fucking like. You tell a taxi driver I need to ride to school. Why is the entire pro community in my fucking chat right now? This is like the worst stream I've ever had. All time, and the entire pro community is here. But yeah, Weibo, Reddit. I don't need to show you guys that strat again. I already showed you guys, but it's just the same kind of thing. Yeah, it's the same kind of thing. So you just basically make holes all across these two. You reinforce this wall, make shield here. Boom, you can hold that. You have a player, top Mez, playing over here. Player over here, playing here. He has holes over here to help him look through. Same shit. It's the same shit as last time. They didn't adjust. But now here we get to attack. Here's where I would say is the more exciting part of Team Secrets, like Team Identity comes in. Which is basically just Mowgli. Like that guy's a literal fucking demon. Savage and Mowgli. Savage being literal like EU spirits. Like he's a shield player for that team. And Mowgli being like the fucking greatest lurk at the event ever. I think you're playing the same way W7M play. They just help each other every single time. Yeah, they go super fucking aggro. That just seems the way to play right now. Like the aggression just seems like it's the fucking move, especially with all the attack operators like being able to move that fast. Seems like you move fast to fucking counter them. But Mowgli always goes library. This is like his bread and butter. He will go library every single time, and it's like little you could do to fucking stop him. I don't know like how he does it, but he just goes. He goes on library balk. He drones, and then eventually at one point in the round he hops in. He decides to hop in, and he just calls it a day. Or maybe he's not there in library balk, but we'll see. What's the take here? Oh, they're going. What the fuck? What the fuck is Savage looking at? Okay. Looks like they're going for a hunt in the bar player. Same thing that Weibo were going for, but they had the blitz on library double, and that's why the Legion actually had that bottom. So I actually might have been wrong about the wall Legion had to reinforce this whole time. I think it was this wall now, because he did have this wall reinforced. So this wall, right, super important. Not this wall. This is wrong. Is that you reinforce this wall because the enemy, if they lurk up bottom fire stairs, they can't shoot you inside a stock, right? And they can't shoot you inside a stock. You can play here for a lot longer, which is exactly what you see Secret do right here. Actually, as they end up shooting at this guy through that fucking bottom stock wall, and now he's kind of behind a rock in a hard place. Gets naded through the drone hole. Has to push up close. Good pre-fire by Hoven though. What the fuck? And yeah, looks like a failed roam hunt onto the players. But this is the bar roam hunt, so I can go ahead and lay this out after this round's over. Weibo actually played that very well, or no, the Legion Hovenhurst played that very well. Counters out everyone. What were you looking at, Savage? Talk some shit. They fall back, and they play the default Raider over here. Two Harbor players left, but not really much you could do if the clash is up on the board. One interesting thing that like Weibo reinforced the wall next to big window, which usually just gives up, like it just gives away a big window execute. Like if you have that wall reinforced right next to big window, it basically means hey, come repel on big window with a sense and a glass and a ying. That's also a risky play. Catch 2 kills in this spot's a miracle. Yeah, it's just like Hoven shooting on everyone. But also, what was Savage looking at? A lot of people are doing this because you get a good angle to closet. Yeah, no, it is. It does block a good angle. Wait, there's no way. There's no way. Okay, holy shit. I was gonna say, bro, there's no way they brought it back. Third win it. But let's break down their initial positions because that's the most important thing about attack. I'm on Buck because it's the best demonstration purposes, but basically the dilemma here is how do we clear this Legion out of the stock position? Because once again, how are we going to take library with this Legion here? Legion's going to hold the library hopping from underneath. Legion's going to hold this single window hopping. There's nothing you can do. You can't also walk up the staircase on him, so we have to hunt him down. Thankfully, he is one of the easiest players to hunt down in this position. So the first thing you want to do is you want to cut off Legion himself. What's the one way? What's kind of like the main way Legion to get back to his boys? Well, if he's in stock, you first cut him off from going back to blue just by having games window open, right? You just cut him off from going back to blue if he's playing in stock position, which is his default slot. Next, you have the player outside main door, right? This guy can be a flex between either or angle from the K9 cut if he wants to go hold top floor players from moving across. Mostly holding main door. He cannot leave bar door, and he cannot run down the hallway over here. That's cut number 2. That's cut number 1, realistically. That's because like the game's window player is more so of like a player. What the fuck is called? More so of an entry, right? This guy on the roof holds down the Ivy window because the Ivy window holds the help from his boys to come help him. Because it's a master setup, more people are going to be top floor, and more people are going to try to come down blue to help his boy get back into sight. That's what we saw Secret do, right? Savage ran down blue stairs, came here, swung the guy on the game's window. Secret know that, so for that reason, they're holding that Ivy window. They have 2 players holding that main door cut and this cut, and then the Blitz and the Deimos on the window, ready to double entry. Now, the Blitz, unfortunately, has a little bit of like a brain freeze and decides to look at nothing and just instantly die, but then the secondary entry onto the player, because if he was in stock with that reinforcement, they still have a pretty good, fight on him. He still has a pretty fight on them. Is going to go through basement, open up the stock wall. He can't sit in stock anymore. This will force him to move out into games. Right, it's kind of like a meta game. Like, this is a common position, but Fett, what if he's here? It doesn't matter because people know pro players generally gamble that he's right here holding the hatch hop in. So they come down, they shoot open this wall. He has to move into games, and off of that, they get Deimos track, nade the drone hole, and go for a Blitz hop in at the same time. Unfortunately, Blitz dies off the rip. That fucks him. Her, even though they had all the help on the room cut off, he just gets 2 miracle kills. Right, he kills the Blitz. He catches the Blitz just locking, just straight up just looking at nothing outside the room. And then he also gets a really good pre-fire because he knows that Mowgli's going for this gun after. And that's essentially what wins the round. Now you see Weibo kind of having more of a... They do have the master initial roam, just like we saw Secret do. You'll see a lot of archetypes of strats being like kind of converted across. Havenhurst gets an opening kill onto Mowgli, but it does look like... Let's see, what was this? What is this? You are shit! Ooh, crazy shit talk from Reaps. Those 2 wall reinforced elf is insane. No, a lot of teams do it. It's so you can move around more. It's so you can move around more on box. Secret couldn't execute because Blitz died first. Yes. Basically, yeah. That's how the cookie crumbles. It's stupid. I mean, it depends. I guess it depends on preference. It's pussy. Oh, word. I think it's for more like if you want to get more mobile with it. So it looks like they started everyone all over the map. Like, they started people library side just to open up the window, and then they've realized there was a guy on solar stairs, and then they just set up for a solar stairs kill. So Reaps makes his way to solar stairs. I'm so confused. I think this is a solar take. No, it is a solar take. It was always meant to be a solar take. I'm just an idiot. Okay. They're doing a solar take. They just started people library side. Jesus Christ, I'm freaking out. So they get a player. They get 2 players in the solar windows. This guy's on solar stairs. Then the player comes around to hold the trophy window cut, which basically stops him. This guy now stops the solar player from running back. And now they just have to throw a nade at this guy, and he's dead. Right? They throw a Capital at this guy. They throw a nade at this guy. He's fucking dead. Yes, Fett is on Weibo. He's King Weeb. What the fuck? And he immediately dies to the Habana who was on the rappel. Right? So it is a solar overtake. So that's step number 1 of the solar overtake, is make sure you kill the initial entry, which they get a really good refrag on it and retake solar stairs with this control. And that's the gap in the strat, at least, from Team Secret, is the player on the bathroom window. Right? So this is the next step. I believe that might have been what the opening kill that Weibo got might have prevented. Was the player stopping the bathroom cut. I don't like this attack. I don't like it either. But yeah, that's why Secret fuck up their opening kill. So for that reason, they kind of had to just like forcefully rotate, find like a brand new play to go for. So they're going to rotate actually around to library side because they're basically saying, okay, fuck that. They have that many people solar side. We're not going to even go for that. We're going to completely flip it around to library side and actually get a bunch of kills just doing outside, doing nothing. The Weibo just kind of gave away their lives here. And now, when a 3v2, you just wait for your Deimos track. Really good fundamentals by Secret. But I'll go ahead and explain the solar take immediately to you guys. After this, because that was the initial strat they were going for, and that's a strat you might want to like learn for ranked. So a solar take essentially revolves around getting this guy into the map. These 2 people or this one person on the solar windows into the map, because this is one of the most surefire entries that you can do, because it's, on the full opposite side of the map. There's not really much you can do besides like the K9 window. The K9 door, when you walk in, think of it as attacker. When you walk in here, it's like a riskier entry because, one, you have to worry about people master side, and two, you have to worry about people in your piano. Solar is kind of like one-sided, right? That's the idea from like a basic standpoint. What are the threats to this repellent? Number one is going to be this guy on the staircase. How do you cut this guy off on the staircase? Okay, you get a guy on trophy window, and then you util dump this guy. Right, easy peasy. That's exactly what Secret 2 is. They get a guy in the trophy window, they hold his cup back, they throw nades at him, they throw capitals at him, or at least they act like they were, and he's fucking dead. That's step number one. Step number two is the next threat to the solar repellent. Well, number one is another guy retaking solar stairs, so you gotta make sure your guy on the trophy window is just holding his run back the entire time, because otherwise this guy could just, another roamer from underneath could just retake up here, right? Number two is going to be Owl. Owl, why is it called Owl? Because there's an owl right here. But Owl is the next spot that could swing onto solar, right? As a repellent, and that's exactly what happens. And so that's why usually you see a Pro League player, what they do is they'll repel on the opposite side of the map at the beginning of the round for a solar take because it has a long angle onto Owl. This cut right here is so incredibly important onto this door because it prevents a player from getting into position. That's why Azami is so strong on this map. That's why Azami evens it out so much on this map. Now, the reason why they don't come here and play close, oh, Fett, why don't they play, Professor Fett, why don't they play close? Well, there's a fucking highway window, and if you're doing a solar take, and you're not doing a library take, well, then these guys are going to be here to kill you off here because all your players are solar side. So, one player holding the bathroom cut, one player holding the trophy cut, and then one or two players on the solar repel. That's the idea, but it fucks up for Secret. That's why they lose that. But that is the solar take. That's the general idea of it, but they managed to flip it around and actually win the round there. Alright, so next, now we have... What about big window? Yeah, that's your extra position, or you can have a lurker. You can also go big window. That works too. There we have, what is this? Kitchen. Weibo are going to go for exactly what I was talking about before with the bunker for kitchen. If you want to go kitchen, bunker, you want to bring that tube and that cage to like get the walls. And it looks like Secret are just going for a typical like library over. The double hard breach. Hibana double range hard breach ace. Why? Because they want to open up that wall. They want to get that Dominion on half wall control. Right? If we can open up that side panel with a 2 Hibana pellet on the office wall, we can get this guy... Sorry, give me a sec. If we can open up this side panel with the Hibanas sandwiched left on the wall, we can get Dominion onto half wall control and therefore go for sight. Yeah, Joom lurks in the basement. One player in opposite side already, and this is pretty traditional against like a full bunker hold because you get the control almost instantly, right? Now, basically, because of the cage in the wall, the player underneath the main wall has to get underneath this little lip of a floor right here to try to like shoot up and kill that cage charge so they can actually start getting that wall open. And it's kind of like a gamble 1v1. So it's all up to this IQ actually. And oh, actually, good pick on the IQ. So it makes it so that you're not taking a gunfight by making vert underneath. You're shooting off the cage charge. So that's good. Weibo is actually going to pick up their cage charge and bring it back to top for me. Oh, they're going to just replace it. Okay. And I think the IQ does get the K charge off the wall, which forces, yeah, gets the wall open. Now they rotate over the big window and solar window, so 2 deadly cuts, and now they can go for easy picks off the counter pressure, and they can flood through on their side of the map, right? Because what happens when you have like a full solar overpush? The enemies layer back on their also library overpush. They layer back to solar side, so you repel solar window, you repel big window, but it actually looks like Weibo were able to completely kill that flood. But regardless, I'll explain it. Mowgli 1v2. Does he actually win this? He's going to swing out with a nomad charge. Why no Thatcher? I guess it just wasn't in the books. Boom. Alright, so a library take means you need to get players into library, right? For the eventual goal against a dining site, at least, to open up the top floor wall. Then from this opposite control, because you open up the top floor wall, you keep them off the vert that they would have played above the site, and then you can walk in and plant here, or you can convert full top floor control into getting the hatch over the site control, blah, 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 win the game. Right, that's the idea. Defenders typically have people playing top mez as a position against library take, which means you can't just hop in library double window for free, right? So number one, you need your cut, right? You need your cut. So they have their cut player. You have the players entering library, but then you have your cut players. Your cut players on the roof, once again, are super important because they cut off this entire side. No one from blue side or top mez can fall back if your cut is holding it from happening. Then, what do we need to do? We need to get other entries onto the player's top floor. That's where they have that basement roam come in. If there were players roaming on that side and you have a lot of multi-purpose positions, you lurk into the basement and you can come up and you can walk up and kind of get the jump onto this player top beds because you come through the basement. Similarly, we saw like that, and that's why you have a roamer underneath here. So maybe you send 2 players to their basement or 1 player through bar games and then another player through basement because this guy's also here to fight the lurkers. So then you able to IQ on this window, you get your sledge up the staircase, he opens up this wall, you kill this guy together, and then you can convert by walking the IQ up blue stairs, the sledge up fire stairs, and then you kill the people top floor. So it's all convoluted and tied together in that way. Last guy, I guess, so if you have 1 player library, then 1 player on the cut for Ivy, then you have your 2 players looking in from underneath being the main spearheads. The last guy, I believe, was his ace just droning for his boy outside main door. He's also cutting off this main fallback, as well as holding this fallback from top mez back through side itself. So really important position, and he can ace open the wall after it. The biggest issue is that fucking Weibo went for the goddamn reinforce both walls and 2K'd both walls strategy, and now that's hard to do because now they can hold down this half wall control, which gives them perfect dominion over site for almost the entire round. Right, because that's what half wall does. You can't just go open the wall and go for breach anymore. The biggest thing is to get this guy off half wall is you have to open up this wall, and that gets the angle on the half wall. Ace charges are actually able to be shot unless you put them super hard left. We're going to use it for other stuff, but that's why they brought the Hibana, right? 1, you can break castles and zombies, but 2, you can sandwich a Hibana pellet really hard over here so that the piano player has to cross in front of an open window if you have it open to shoot it off. That's why you bring the Hibana. Now, what the coaches are discussing in chat is that after they got this control, because what they did cleverly is usually a lot of teams end up having to shoot a hole here and tossing a nade through to get this Cade. They cleverly brought the IQ so that they wouldn't have to like shoot the hole open and then just get shit on by the Cade, right? They brought the IQ so they could just shoot the Cade off, get the wall open. What the coaches are saying now is the questionable decision at the end. After they get the wall open, they actually repel players on each repel and decide to go for a top flood through, but they already had the players fallen off. Like, look, the half wall players are already gone, which is why the coaches in my chat are a little bit like puzzled because now this guy's gone. Now they can go down, open sight, get through sight, plant the bomb. It seems like the more obvious strategical decision to make, but maybe, like you said, Team Secret are trying to catch people off guard because Weibo might know that that's the response they're going for. And so instead of going for the default side execute that they're going to go for and Weibo have the response, they're going to go for a top floor flood through. Now the biggest thing is if you just flooded through these 3 angles from piano, from K9, from main wall, the defenders basically have a perfect fucking crossfire onto you, right? Like no matter what, they know you're coming from here, so they're going to hold crossfire. So that's why they repel players on big window and solar repel, because 1, the big window player cuts off this cut back through and you can't walk back between bathroom and master itself, and solar stops the players from playing inside solar, because guess what happens if you're a defender and you're getting pushed back from library side? You're going to push back the library side, you're going to shoot a couple drones, you're going to fall back, you're going to play this position, and then you're going to fall back and you're going to play on the solar wall. So that's kind of the layer. So that solar player actually makes it so that you cannot fall down the solar stairs. That's a very well set up execute call, mid-round execute. Was it not the optimal one? Maybe, but you know, regardless, they set it up pretty well. They committed, and sometimes you lose. That's the game of Siege. You make a call mid-round, you trust your gut, you trust your instinct, and sometimes you lose, and that's the idea of what Secret we're going for. 3rd round, I wouldn't be surprised to see a wall denial ban by Secret. No, it's actually going to be a clash ban. It's going to be a Deimos ban from Weibo. That wall is closed. Secret are really going to be committing to something else quickly, though? Yes. Props to Savage. Yeah, Savage's calling is really, really strong for Secret. We're going Master now instead of Kitchen, and same idea for Secret or Weibo. They're gonna use that tube and K to keep that office double, like the wall fully closed. Let's see what Secret go for in response to that. They're gonna get claymores on this window because that is the one run out that can kill. That is one of many runouts that can kill with big window repel. I think this might be some sort of fast crunch with the blitz. Double flank watch operators, double the gridlock and the nomad. Oh, and they look like they're going for a solar take by hopping the blitz underneath. So this is a very common strat that's recently been a thing ever since shields have been here. And now look through the vert, right? Through the vert this gridlock's about to make. You can open up the floor underneath the feet of this solar stairs and toss a nade up. And now this guy's fucked because there's a blitz on his window. and he's cut off by a gun on the window too. So nades come through. The player up top, he has to cross away. He actually manages to get away perfectly. Reaps, good dodge right here, but they're kind of giving. He's kind of giving up. Oh, big trade by Reaps. They kind of give up their boy Hoven Hearse underneath, which now he's free to get hunted by the Blitz. So solar kill again for that solar, and ever since for the solar guy. And ever since shields have been a thing, Montane walking up solar is a big thing. Now, once again, you see Savage is a really big fan of just switching things around super rapidly. They got the solar kill they wanted, and they immediately flipped to isolating the next free pick in their eyes. So that guy solar, we cut him off from, like, trophy window, we kill him. Now the guy in games, we flip around, we cut this guy off from multiple angles, and we kill him too. So this is the beauty of Secret's gameplay. They're so oriented around like finding these picks with the fast play calls, with the fast decision making, and it works so well a lot of the time because it catches you off guard. Like they're showing they're going for a solar take the entire round. Weibo probably were like, oh my god, they're going for the solar guy. They killed their solar guy. Let's set up against it. Come here, crossfire. But then at that point, Secret are already on the opposite side of the map, killing this guy inside of bar games. So that's like beautiful gameplay. That's the like advantage of fast calling. And now with the lower man count, these double quad reinforced walls are a little bit biting them in the ass because now Secret and Noah can walk up all the way on this piano double. Joom is on the windows to support to make sure no one can play close on them. And they're gonna double flip through piano off the smokes. They're gonna smoke off the doorway. They're gonna go for this player inside a bathroom, I assume.
Scary moment there as the warden peeks through the smoke, downs one, sees the blitz now as the blitz.
Bad whiff by Wape. Savage gets another on the shield. Wow, what a fucking good shield player. Everyone understands the actual attack was opposite what they initially showed. Purpose or off info. Yeah, I'm noticing that now. That they're super good at flipping. And on such a small map, I think that might actually be a really good thing. Every single attack, like Super said, is literally they're flipping. They're figuring, like, they're showing something initial, pulling all the bodies to the other side, and they're just clutching it out in the end. Alright, but yeah, the general idea is when you do the solar take now and you have the shields, because the bomb site is not kitchen, right? There's not a guy in the site, or like usually, sometimes there's more so often than not, there's not a guy down here. Now there was, but it's not as like vital to hold inside kitchen. Right, the bodies are more so defending master, so you have less of you have more of a leeway to entry into solar. So instead, this time you use the shield to push up the staircase and fight this guy on the staircase. On top of that, you have a guy going into big garage, making floor holes and nading up onto this guy. So that's one guy at the solar window, another guy doubled up solar window just to hold because Shield can't play a gun, and then another player playing underneath, and another player on solar window, and then one person library side. Secret are super good at having that one lurker on the opposite side of the map, right? Because what it does is Mowgli, I want you to notice him on this library side. He was on this library side off the start of this round, right? So even though they go for this kill, Mowgli's on the opposite side, and Mowgli's gaining ground on the opposite side the whole time. And now, look at Mowgli. He's still outside library, and what he does is having that singular presence allows them to flip. Because off of them doing all this blitz shit over here, all of Weibo are now worried about the solar take. All of Weibo are now over here staring at the solar take, despite the fact that, I mean, it is a K tube strat, so I guess it was given up regardless, right? Regardless, but like for the narrative, Weibo was staring at solar side. And now, off of that pressure, Mowgli takes in, and because Mowgli takes in and says, hey, this shit's free, Savage is able to say, okay, I found a Legion, let's go fucking hunt this guy. And they flip around their take super fast, and they triple run down this guy, go for the next immediate pick, and it's so beautiful, the flow and ebb of their fucking take. And then they flow it up into a library over, and this wall's double reinforced, and they just smoke off this door, right, so that the players inside of office can no longer get this angle onto them, and they have players on the highway windows to enable this push further, and it's just a beautiful call at the end to end out the round. I think a great shield player to do that. They can clear stuff quickly without as much risk by doubling up on them. Yeah, absolutely. If they want a genius and they lose, it's dumb as fuck. Yeah, exactly. But it's like taking risks like that, it's like super fucking adaptive. Well, that's also Furia, bro. Like that's exactly what Furia play like, bro. It's like Mowgli is just like the next incarnation of Herds, honestly. Herds is literally just walking in at 30 seconds every single round. The solar clear now across this time, and you're gonna notice the util here. They're gonna have 3 execute operators. They're gonna have Grim, they're gonna have Sense, they're gonna have Capitao. So this most likely means, I mean, they already got kills off the cut, which just means like this round's almost basically over, 5v3. But the general idea is that they were gonna get up to this control top solar side, and they're gonna use the Sense to flood across. Usually the round comes to a standstill right about here with 5v5 if you fall off properly, but they didn't fall off properly, and they just completely fucking shit all over their chest. And Mowgli's talking this shit. But regardless, I will still show you what was intended to happen. So we've already went over the solar take, but genuinely speaking, when you see players fall off this roam, it comes to a standstill right around here, right? Where we get this triple setup from the defense where they have the blue stairs player holding the cross over here, the top fire player holding the cross over here, and you have a box player or a corner player, and they have holes to fight against the flood through. This is the genuine, like, general stop point. So the attack will make holes necessary so that they can, you know, dump out util and clear first of all the util either side and make a rotate and a top ivy, and then it's up to them to flood, right? The biggest problem with the flood though is that you're essentially flooding into a crossfire, right? If you walk down ivy, then you're gonna die to blue, you're gonna die to box, you're gonna die to corner, you're gonna die to top mez, right? So that's where the Sense comes in, and that's where some teams use Roar to actually block these two doors. Is with Sense, you can first of all, you can throw like a Sense like this, and then that'll isolate you off of the blue side, and now you can walk down the hallway, go for the kill on the blue player, or, you know, you could throw a completely different type of Sense that isolates you off of the, you know, the blue stairs player. I don't know how to, first of all, I don't know the Sense lineup, so I'm sorry if, like, this is completely wrong. I have no idea. And fight the top Ivy guy. Right, so this util up, especially with the Capitao smokes, the Capitao fires, they were, basically betting on it going to right here, the standstill, and then flooding their util up down this top floor area, and then using it to, you know, flood through, isolate a pick, go for the kill over here. Yeah, you can do it in the window, but yeah. Fuck, I didn't know that. This window? I don't know, bro. I don't know the meta. I wasn't here for Sense meta. I wasn't here for when Sense got buffed to fucking here? Shit, I don't know it, Super. I don't know it. Wow, this makes a lot of sense. This actually makes, like, a lot more sense. Obviously, I probably threw that wrong. No? Damn it. Well, whatever. I don't have it anymore. Alright, that's it for Strat review today. I hope if you're a ranked player, you learned something with the defaults of the map. So, last episode, you noticed that, like, W7M kind of, like, innovated little parts of defaults. This episode, you see kind of Secret playing around. Basically, just, like, pure calling on their defense and their offense. Pure just, we start out, like, with, like, these setups. We, like, not Monopoly. We fucking modulate. We take these modules, we switch them around, we counter different things, we counter, we call switches on our attacks, and we flip really fast. It's pure like almost adaptive flow state gameplay, right, where it's not very written down. But I hope you still learned something from the default initials. And yeah, that's gonna be it for me, boys. Hopefully you're enjoying these videos. I'm gonna keep trying these videos. I know, like, the Nighthaven one kind of flopped, but I'm gonna keep trying because I feel like it'll work. And I feel like it's educational, and it helps. Anyways, catch you guys later. Thank you to the two coaches with their input in the chat today, Igor and Super, Shopify Rebellion, and Furia. I'll catch you guys later. See you.